You're still watching Morning Live here on SABC 2. Now, the first ever culture conference is underway in Port Elizabeth. The impact of the creative and cultural industries as drivers of economic growth, job creation and nation building, as well as social cohesion, will take center stage at the conference. Insights from the sector are needed from people on the ground who are living and breathing the work done in the creative and cultural industries. We cross over to our reporter in Port Elizabeth, Janine Lee, for more on this. A very good morning to you, Janine.
Thanks, Palesa. Just to give you an idea how important these sectors are, if you just take, for instance, that agriculture in South Africa contributes 2.5% to South Africa's GDP, and the creative and cultural sector contributes 3%. So you know how massive it actually is, and the aim of this conference, I think, is to grow this number to even more. I'm joined by Monica Newton from the Department of Arts and Culture. Monica, just what is the way forward for this conference? What are we hoping to achieve?
We're hoping to get a lot more people interested in doing research in the culture and creative industries, building a research community, but most importantly, getting the word out there about how important the sector is, talking about monitoring and evaluation, developing models so that we understand it better, understanding what everybody, content holders, knowledge holders are doing. So there's real value in getting together as a community of people interested in knowledge and talking about its value.
What's interesting about the conference, Monica, we've got academics at a very high level and we've got artists right on the ground. It's nice to have this fusion of both.
Indeed, and one of the most important things to recognize about knowledge generation is that you don't have to be an academic at a university to have real skill and expertise at something. So the aim of the observatory is really to pull everybody together into a system of developing, generating and sharing information about culture and creative industries.
Now, this is the inaugural Observation Cultural Conference, but, I mean, there's been a lot of work that's been done prior to this.
Indeed, and the observatory is drawing on that resource, acting as a clearinghouse in a way, combining all of those resources, and will start to generate its own information, do its own research. But this conference will become an annual feature on the arts and culture calendar, because it's such an important thing for researchers at all levels to do, to get together and to talk about what we're doing.
Monica, I know you're well travelled in your line of work. What are the countries South Africa can learn from?
So many. And the continent itself has a lot of extraordinary examples of amazing artistic talent where people are working under quite difficult conditions and creating really innovative work. From a policy perspective, there's really interesting work going on in South America, Brazil, Argentina, and we have very close relationships with those countries. And of course, Canada, the United Kingdom, and of course France, who join us here at this conference today, all countries with very sophisticated cultural policy environs that we can learn from, but the critical issue is South Africa needs to make cultural policy that suits its own conditions, not just adopt somebody else's approach.
What is working for South Africa from the department's perspective?
A lot. We're doing a lot of amazing education and training. Grant funding, while it's never adequate in terms of the demands on the resources, is continuing to catalyze innovation and growth. Michelle Constant from Business Arts South Africa is here. We're seeing a lot of interest still from the business sector in using the arts as a tool for marketing, and of course that benefits the arts as well. We've seen the SABC make extraordinary announcements about local content recently, very exciting, and we're really hoping that that is going to generate real income for artists, but also create downstream benefits for when artists appear at live music conferences, when CDs are sold, that there will be profound economic impact for those kinds of decisions.
Monica, how much influence do these sectors have in South Africa?
I think a huge amount, especially amongst young people, because they are accessible. People are enjoying their output. They are social, they are cultural, they speak with a voice that isn't bland, they have something to say, and I think that that's something South Africans enjoy. And research is telling us that South Africans enjoy the arts, South Africans support the arts. What we really do need, though, is more paying audiences everywhere. And in an economic downturn, there will certainly be some difficulties, but we're really hoping that our arts sector is resilient enough to see us through quite a difficult time economically.
Well, let's hope so, because we know how nation building it can be. And just on that note, Monica, I mean, the Eastern Cape, we're home to the National Arts Festival, which is fantastic. And just, I mean, it generates so much money for the Eastern Cape. I think 60 to 80 million for the economy of the Eastern Cape. Perhaps will you take some time out? I mean, it's just now at the end of the month. Will you be coming?
I certainly will be. You'll see me here in July.
Monica, thank you very much for joining us, for getting up so early. From us here in Port Elizabeth, from this South African Cultural Observatory Conference, it's back to you in Johannesburg.